Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Human Training Your Dog Has Been Begging You For podcast. Joining us today is the leadership team here at Canine Culture Dog Training in Dallas, and we have Wyatt, senior trainer and head of evaluations. How you doing, Wyatt?
Good.
Good. And then we have Julie, lead trainer.
Hello.
And finally, and I'm Charles, co-founder of Canine Culture, and then we have Laura, head of training and co-founder. How are you doing today, Laura?
I am good. How are you doing, Charles?
I'm doing pretty good. Our intent is to, if you own a dog, to help you have a better relationship and understanding on kind of what makes your dog tick. If they have a behavioral issue that you wish they didn't have, how to possibly address that and replace it with a better behavior. We were originally we called an audible and are changing the subject this week because we realized, Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays are right around the corner, so we should probably get this information out sooner rather than later. So today we wanted to talk about Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays, having people over, or you're going over, you're having a big dinner, you're going over to a big dinner, and your dog's there. What do you do? What should they eat? What shouldn't they eat? What should really get you concerned if they ate it? How to handle all these people that are now in your house, and your dog's only used to 3 people. So are there foods that, dogs should not eat off the Thanksgiving menu? Laura?
Yes, I'm going to go over the common holiday and Christmas plants and food that are dangerous to dogs. So the first couple are plants, and then it will be food.
So these are typical Christmas plants?
Yep, typical Christmas plants. So the first one, I say poinsettia, but most people say poinsettia plants. And a lot of people are led to believe that they are deadly for pets and children, but this is unlikely occurrence. They have sap in their leaves, which will irritate the tissue of the mouth and esophagus. If the leaves are ingested, they will cause nausea and vomiting, but it would take a huge amount of the plant's material to actually do lasting harm or death, because it tastes so bad and it feels weird. They usually just have a little. So what you want to look for is just vomiting, lethargicness. If they eat a lot, though, they can have seizures, coma, and sometimes death.
But the likelihood of
is very small.
Something that nasty.
But still keep it out of your house. The 2 other plants that are more dangerous than a poinsettia is a holly and the mistletoe. These, along with their berries, have a greater toxicity level of the poinsettia. Symptoms of the illness from ingesting these plants include intestinal upset, such as vomiting, diarrhea, excessive drooling, and abdominal pain. Mistletoe contains multiple substances that are toxic to dogs and kitties. It's well known to cause severe intestinal upset, as well as sudden and severe drop in blood pressure, breathing problems, and even hallucination. So you'll be making your dog high. And large enough, they could have seizures and death. So no mistletoe. Leaves, berries of the holly, mistletoe plants, even the dried ones, should be kept well away from your dogs, cats, and children. And then the next one is lilies and daffodils, which I'm not sure. Those are holiday, maybe not Christmassy, but maybe. Both are gifts that people get for Christmas, are toxic to pets. Lilies is one of the most poisonous type of plants. So be sure to keep them away from your dogs over Christmas. They look pretty, but if ingested, could have kidney failure.
Wow.
Daffodils are also toxic to dogs and kitties. The bulbs are the most toxic. However, even a few bites from the flower can cause kidney failure and even death in kitty cats. So just make sure if you're going to get these, to put them up high or have them sent to your office. So your
enjoyment work
at home. Yes. And then the amorous, and that is, you buy them sometimes in bulbs and they grow tall and you have one flower. Those are beautiful plants. I love them. I have some in my home, but they also can if they eat them, vomiting, diarrhea, decreased appetite, abdominal pain, lethargy, how do you say that?
Lethargy.
There you go.
Lethargy.
And tumors in both doggies and kitties.
Oh, tumors.
So just don't have those out. Christmas trees have several potential hazards for doggies and kitties, including the annoying pine needles. If they chewed by small animals, the oils released may cause irritation and stomach upset. They might be wonderful to look at, but just keep an eye out on for your dog too close. Just why you have the plastic white ones.
Yeah, get a fake tree.
Yes. Ivies can cause severe skin irritation if they come direct contact with the plant. If ingested, they can have upset tummies.
So most of this is upset stomach.
Yes.
But there's a few that you said gives them stomach pain.
Yes.
And stomach pain is super important for people that have dogs because a dog can't do what we do. We bend over, we'll push pressure against our stomach to make it relieve a little pressure, feel a little better. We'll go get a hot pad. There's a lot of things that we'll do to try to mitigate the pain. Dogs cannot. So what they end up doing is rolling and rolling and rolling.
Yes.
And what'll happen, or can happen, they can twist their intestine and that can kill them. Absolutely kill them.
Okay.
And so if you see your dog rolling, take him to the vet.
The last one I have is a laurel plant, and it also could be a bay laurel, which used in cooking. They cause vomiting, abdominal pain, hypertension, extreme cases, muscle weakness, and even seizures. So those are the plants. Just keep them up high, or maybe not have them at all in your house. And the foods, I think we all kind of know the foods: chocolate, coffee, and caffeine contain things that can make your dog vomit, diarrhea, panting, excessive thirsting, urination, hyperactivity, abnormal heart rhythm, tremors, seizures, and even death. Dark chocolate is more dangerous than white chocolate and milk chocolate, and white chocolate has the lowest levels in it. And baking chocolate has the highest. Nuts, including all nuts, almonds, pecans, walnuts, contain excess amounts of oil and fat. The fats can cause vomiting, diarrhea, and potentially pancreatitis in pets. Alcohol is not good for your doggies.
It's not funny. Don't give your dog a beer.
Yes, because it has vomiting, diarrhea, decreased coordination, central nervous system depression, difficult breathing, tremors, abdominal blood asticity, coma, and even death. So under no circumstance, give your dog alcohol, please. Onions, garlic, and chives all have things in it. Aluminum family that cause oxidative damages to the red blood cells in dogs and cats, leading to anemia, and cats are more sensitive than dogs. It takes half the number of garlic to cause anemia in a cat compared to a dog. So just keep those up. Don't give the dogs
no garlic,
no garlic, and no onions. So many need to go to the doctor. Animal bones, cooked animal bones are dangerous to your dogs because they can splint them. Yeah, they can get an esophagus damage. So, and I think everyone you should know that.
Pretty much you should know that, but there might be some people that don't know that.
Salty and salty snack foods. This too much salt for us is bad for us, but it's really bad for the animals. Like potato chips, popcorn, salt pop, they have excessive thirst or urinations. They can have sodium ion poisoning, so that's not good. Ham, dogs should not eat ham. Deli ham contains a lot of salt. Baked hams have a lot of sugar, neither of which is good for dogs, and they have a difficult time digesting them.
So no ham from the table for the dogs.
Yes. Yeast dough, just like we shouldn't eat yeast dough, it expands in your dogs. They cannot tell you they are in pain, but they cause bloating, potentially twisting, becoming of their intestines, becoming life-threatening emergency. The yeast produces ethanol, which makes the dog drunk a little bit. And that's bad because they can die from that too. Bouillons, which I thought was interesting, a lot of them are high in salt, so it does the same as other things in it. It makes them hyper natural. I'll have Charles read it.
I can't read that word.
But it causes seizures, tremors. Your dog can die within 24 hours if they eat too much bouillon.
So no bouillon.
Yes, and baked goods are bad just because of the sugars and the fake sugars in it. So fake sugars are worse than natural sugars because of the chemicals in it. So they can have liver failure, So you just need to monitor it. If your dog digests any of these things, ASPCA has an animal poison control center that you could look online and call them and they'll help you, or rush them to the doctor. So that's what I have.
So the question is, turkey, can they have a piece of turkey?
They could have one little piece of turkey.
Okay, but no ham.
No ham.
How about pumpkin pie?
No pies, no baked goods.
No baked goods. Too much sugar, too much salt. No cooked bones ever. for a dog.
Ever. Bouillon, never. I didn't know that. I didn't know that until I started researching this. Bouillon is really bad
Oh, darn. You kill them in a day.
in a day.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. So if you are preparing for the holidays and you have to either travel to somebody's home with your dog or everybody's coming to your home for the holiday meal, what are some things that people could do to prepare for that?
Yeah, so right off the bat, if you're feeling any kind of way about your dog, the other person's dog, or anything like that, boarding is always an option. We don't want to just throw your dog into a situation it's never prepared for, it's not ready for, if you can help it. If it's not an option, it's going to happen. Definitely put them on a leash. We want to show them how to act in a situation because most dogs have never been around 30 people at their house. Or,
Right.
you know, it's a new dog. We don't know how they're going to act every time. You know, you might have the best dog in the world. They could just not get along.
So when you say put them on a leash, you mean have them like drag a leash around the house?
No, you would start off in probably a neutral location with leashes on them, start walking together, then let them smell each other, and then go to the house. Really slow and steady is the way to do it. And even once, if they're really like playing with each other, they're really fun, I'd leave the leashes on while they're dragging them. And then when you're 100% confident, then you take the leash off.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't go to that far an extent for like children or a lot of people. I'd still put a leash on them in the house. You definitely want to have a safe place for your dog, especially if they're on.
Because that can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
10, 15 or more people, and they're used to two
Yeah.
or four.
Can I add something to that?
No.
Wow.
Well, I'm thinking about the situation that happened to my family last year. We had my sister or my stepsister came in with her dog. So my mom's dog and this dog never had the opportunity to meet prior to the actual holidays. And I think if you know that you live close enough that you can try to get these dogs to meet prior to that,
Yes.
that would be a fantastic
That's a good
idea.
tip. Yeah.
Because otherwise you're literally building all of this kind of unknown energy there. And then the day of, I don't know.
And then it's already chaotic
Yeah.
because there's more people than normal.
Exactly. So then there's all this extra stuff going on, plus these two dogs who have never met, being in a new territory, whatever it is, it's just a lot to deal with all at once. So I think if you have the opportunity to have these two dogs meet prior to the holidays, that would really kind of help make everything smoother.
Yeah, for sure. And like Wyatt said, if it's possible, let them meet outside in a neutral, just go for a walk and get them used to walking
Yes.
next to each other. But when you go back to the home, the dog that's the visitor goes in the home first. Have the dog that lives there go in after the dog. That way it helps with territory. I guess he's going to my home versus I'm in my home. Why are you coming in my home? I don't know why it just
And
works well.
it also might not be your dog's going to try and eat the other dog. It could be they're going to try and play for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The entire time you're trying to do Christmas or Thanksgiving, and you need to know that before you actually do that, or have a plan to separate them, or just let them in the backyard.
Yeah.
But in the backyard, don't just throw the dogs in the backyard and, well, they're going to go play. Go back there and make sure that they're doing well. And then be aware of, one dog might want to play for 8 hours and the other dog's a little over it after 20
Right.
minutes. So
Yeah.
be fair to that dog and give him some private time too. He don't want to play for 8 hours.
Yeah.
He's exhausted. Now he gets cranky and now you got a dog fight.
The other big one is small children.
Mm-hmm.
I think 2-year-olds are the worst. They don't know social cues from dogs, and they'll corner them.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely want to give your dog a safe place from the kids where they're not allowed to go get your dog, but you need to supervise the children and the dog when they're
Don't let them
together.
pull their hair.
Yeah, because most of the time when a dog bites a little kid, usually it's the kid's fault.
Yep.
Yep.
Most dogs
trying to give all the
They're
signals.
giving signs, exactly.
They either
They're
love
giving
children
signs.
or they actively avoid them. It's the one that avoids a kid's corner and then they don't have a flight response.
Yeah, they got no option and they're going to nip or bite.
Yeah.
And no dog is a horse. Children should not get on their backs and ride them.
Yeah.
If a dog's going and laying down, be an advocate for your dog. Don't let children pester them. Just let them have some peace and quiet.
Well, and some kids have just never been around dogs.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not their fault. They just don't know any better. It needs to be supervised, controlled situation so everyone has a good time.
Yeah.
And when in doubt, I would just separate them.
And almost, I wouldn't say every year, but almost every year, the week or two after Thanksgiving, someone will come in for an evaluation. And what triggered their need for an evaluation is their dog bit somebody in the face on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Mhm.
And the reason is they put their face in a dog's face and he didn't appreciate it.
Right.
Yep.
That does not necessarily mean the dog is aggressive. It means the dog was uncomfortable and the person failed to pick up the cues and pushed himself upon the dog. So be an advocate for your dog with adults too, because those are usually adults being bit.
Let's talk about those cues, because I
Yeah.
think that's the issue, is that a lot of people don't know.
What to look for.
Yes, they look at something that is too late, and they don't look at all the little things like the dog is starting to pant,
Right.
or starting to
Lick his
try
lips.
to get away from something.
If a dog licks his lips, he's nervous and anxious. He is not comfortable. He's not. It's like us. We lick our lips because we lost moisture in our gums, and it's typically because we're under stress. So is your dog. Your dog is now under stress. That's why he's licking his lips.
Or if he just locks up and gives you the side eye or is just fixating, like staring someone down, you need to break that eye contact and get him away from that thing or that
Yep.
person because it's freaking him out.
And yawning.
Yes,
Yawning is
Yawning is a
stress
big
release.
one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your
not-
position too.
Do not
Your
judge
position.
your dog's emotions off the tail. That's a good
Yeah.
indicator, but it is not the
Lots of
end
dogs
all,
bite
be
with
all.
the tail wagging.
Right.
So,
You gotta
Right.
go by multiple different signs to try and guess what your dog is feeling. And even then, it's still a guess.
and if your dog is actively looking to kind of walk away, and let him.
Yeah.
don't
Yes.
don't call him and have him come back and re-engage. Let him go take maybe he just needs a minute. He just needs a breath.
I think that's also where sometimes spending the holidays with our dogs can be so sort of overwhelming for us, because at the end of the day, you have to look at what they're doing. You have to pay attention to all their signs, all their moves. I think for me, what I've noticed a lot in my family gatherings for the holidays is that a dog, like one of my dogs, will start to go and walk away, and then a child will follow, or
Yeah.
even an adult will follow,
Yeah.
and then he's
It's-
like, "What the
But it is
heck?"
common for kids.
Yeah.
There's a kid that just is fascinated by this
Right.
dog. They love this dog so much.
Right.
And the dog might even love this kid so much, but everything is in moderation, right? So now the dog
Correct.
just needs a quiet minute away from this kid that
Right.
he loves, but
Right.
it's enough. I need a minute.
Right.
And then there's another one. We have ball dogs that love balls.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we will have children that will play ball with these dogs all day. And we have a 10-year-old dog that will probably play until he can't walk. So we have to advocate for our dog there. Says, okay, that's enough. Georgie needs a break, because he will play
Until he drops.
and it's not fair for the
It's
dog.
not, yeah.
So the kid's not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, he's just
but he
playing
just
with the
doesn't.
dog.
Yeah, and the dogs
Right.
keep coming back.
Yeah.
And usually in that scenario, with our grandkids, we have
Yeah.
to take the balls away
Yeah.
and go put them up.
Because it's really fun. Our dogs love the kids coming over. They just have to know.
Well, it's the same
rules.
example with adults with Lincoln. Lincoln will
Yeah.
play tug with you
Forever.
till
And he has-
dies,
and he has really bad hips,
He
so-
will limp and be
Right.
gimpy for
Yeah.
like
Pay
2
for it
weeks.
for the next
But he will
Yeah.
just bring
Yeah.
his lamb chop.
Yeah.
Yes. So
and not hold on to it with his soft.
Now,
Correct.
with the kids and adults, resource guard. And, remember, does your dog kind of protect food and snacks and stuff like that? Well, then don't necessarily give
Have
him a
that
snack
out.
or food
Right,
around
yeah.
other people.
Right.
Give him, in that scenario, even if he's not a resource guarder, just feed your dog in another private room.
yeah.
Because you may think your dog never resource guards, and now there's a 18-month-old that's crawling over and shoves her hand in the bowl, and you're like, wow, I guess he does, because he
Yes.
just bit the kid.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even if your dog typically eats in the kitchen, give him a private room to eat.
I would same thing with toys with multiple dogs.
Pick them all up.
Pick 100%. Search your house. That's the only time my dog's ever gotten in a real mild dog fight here. Is I didn't find the toy in the field with Pascal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, separated, went back to playing, but it was started over a toy.
They each wanted
I
that
just
toy.
didn't
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't know, because our 3 dogs are great with their toys, but like if my mom's dogs come over, you don't know. They might like, I don't want those dogs to touch
Yeah.
my toy, or Wyatt's dogs come over. So you don't know, because your dogs might be beautiful by
With your
themselves.
dogs, with
but
toys,
other
now
dogs,
you
I'm
bring
like-
another dog
Oh,
in the house.
yeah.
you know.
Those two, him and Pascal, would played for like 2 hours before
Yeah.
that happened. They found the toy and
Yeah.
then they fought over the toy
So-
for like 10 seconds and then we're over it.
Yeah. Because you want it to be a positive on everybody's.
Yes.
You don't want uncles going after brothers because the dog bit the kid. It's not fun times.
No, it's not.
And if you plan on bringing your dog over to somebody else's home, make sure it's okay.
Yes.
Don't just
Oh,
shaft the
yeah.
dog.
Yeah, don't do that.
I know that sounds like really common sense, but it apparently is not because we're mentioning it.
But also,
If your dog's not potty trained,
Yeah.
do not take your dog to somebody else's home.
Yes.
That is dog ownership 101. You don't take a non-potty trained dog to somebody else's home.
Bring their crate.
Yes.
Bring their stuff so they
Yes.
can get away.
and if you are dead set on bringing your dog anywhere, holiday or vacation, do a dry run somewhere else that you can bail and go back to your house.
Yeah.
Do not travel 8 hours with your dog to some vacation and then realize this is not fun. It's
Yes.
like you brought a
Yeah.
2-year-old and you can't go to the
And
bar. you
on a
can't
holiday,
Yeah.
you are
play.
not going to find a boarding.
No, they're all packed.
So it's a
already.
natural segue into boarding. Boarding for holidays, you want to plan like now it's too late. If
We're
you
full.
found a place to board your dog within a week of major holiday, you've probably found a place nobody else wants to use.
It's
Wow,
true,
never
though.
thought of that.
They have openings for a reason. It's because it's the boarding of last
Some sort of
resort.
sketch.
It's very sketchy or it's very filthy. You know what? I don't know. There's a reason. Good quality boarding places are typically booked at least 3 weeks before a holiday. Some
More.
4, 5,
More.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
We send out. We remind all of our clients in August, late August after,
Yeah.
or excuse me, right after Labor Day weekend. If you want to board with us on the Thanksgiving, let us know in September, right after.
Well, no,
Labor
Christmas,
Day.
we're usually like a month to 2 months out.
Yeah, I
for
believe we're already
Christmas.
booked out for Christmas, and it's
Yeah.
only
That's
Yeah,
wild.
we are.
November 7th or 8th. Yeah.
And I'm piggyback what Wyatt say, do a dry run with different boarding places to see what matches you, matches the dog, and you're
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, just go
Just
boarding
don't-
for a night.
Yeah.
See how your dog did that.
Yeah.
But definitely when it's like finding a dog train, you need to see the whole building.
Oh,
You want
yes.
to tour the
Everything.
kennel room. You want to smell.
Smell.
The kennel room. It should not make you vomit. Yes, of course, there's going to be a little dog aroma, a little urine, because a dog might have just pooed right before you walked in. But it should not gag you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're in the wrong place, and you don't want your dog to be there. And take in consideration your dog. Is your dog not superly into people? Well, then he's probably going to be even less into people in that environment because it's a little stressful. He's never boarded before, or he has, but this is a new location. So maybe you should be finding a boarding location that has inside-outside kennel runs. That way the dog can let himself out to go potty, and he has much, much less interaction with humans. If they don't have outside kennel runs, then you've got to ask them, how often do you take my dog outside to go potty?
Yeah.
If it's twice a day, that's not enough. If it's 3 times a day, that's kind of standard in the industry, but to me, that's the bare minimum. You know, we walk the dogs that board with us 5 times a day. That's probably 1 time a day overkill, but
Our place
It is
doesn't
what it
smell
is.
bad.
that's why we don't smell bad.
But it's also if you do.
But that's an important question. How often do you walk the dogs? Give them a chance to go potty.
If you ended up with a dog that it doesn't like people or does not like dogs, you have a dog that has issues going on, be a rescue or whatever's going on. The inside outside runs kennels are amazing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They can clean them, they can give them food, they can do everything without actually.
While the dog's in the outside kennel,
Yeah.
they can give him food, tidy up his inside kennel, and then he comes back in,
Yep.
and then they're in the outside cleaning.
Because there's a door that goes up
Yeah.
and down, so
Right,
they
yeah.
can go in, clean the whole kennel, then open them out, lure them into the other one, then close it, then clean the other
Yeah.
side.
Even if you have a human aggressive dog, a lot of places that have inside-outside runs will still board them. They
Yeah.
will just have zero interaction with humans. You would put your dog in the kennel. When you come back and get him, you would get him out of
Yeah.
the kennel.
Right.
But other than that, they can still feed, water, and take care of them because they can separate themselves and give them a pleasant, as stress-free, stay as possible.
It's gonna be a little stinky when you pick them up.
But definitely plan ahead. So if you're listening to this podcast now, it's definitely too late to find a good quality boarding place for Thanksgiving, but you definitely want to jump on the phone if you're traveling for Christmas because you're already cutting it pretty close for the Christmas time. And that goes with every holiday. Labor Day, Memorial Day, all the major holidays. Yeah. Most good kennel places are booked 4 to 6 weeks out.
Now we're going to talk
about shots. You got to have your dog up to date on shots. If they're not, you can't just drop the dog off. And you want to call the place and ask, what shots do you need? Because different places do vary on the shots.
Well, and getting neutered. If you don't have a dog,
yes.
Not blaming anyone. It's fine if you don't want to neuter your dog, but you need to make sure before you
spay.
go. Or spay. Sorry. Yeah.
Either one. Yeah.
If the place allows that or doesn't, what's their policy? Do not want to show up same day.
It is amazing how many places in Dallas will not take an unaltered male. We're one of the few that will. But literally, they'll say, nope, don't care if you just missed your plane. You ain't leaving your dog here if it's unspayed or unneutered. There are some, great point, Wyatt, because you're going to need to find that place that will.
Yeah.
Any other things you guys can think of on boarding?
Well, I think
make sure it's clean.
Our only one is females, dogs, if they do come into heat.
You got to have an alternate.
Someone's going to have to come get that dog.
Yeah.
Or a vet to take it to.
Almost no boarding place will keep a dog in heat.
Yeah.
Because it's bad for all the dogs in boarding.
It turns into a circus. Your dog will get impregnated.
It will.
It will jump 8-10-foot fences.
So a lot of places on the holidays, especially 4th of July, of course, New Year's, of course, but even, Thanksgiving and Christmas do fireworks. So is there anything, Julie, people could do to prep their dog for those weird and strange sounds?
There's a lot of things that you can do. I think this is one of the most common questions when it comes to the holiday, fun extravaganza stuff for dogs, especially New Year's, and then July 4th. But otherwise, for the fireworks, I think what you can work on prior to the holidays is getting a dog to be desensitized to the sound. There's a lot more to that than just throwing the sound on the TV and then walking off, because a lot of times the problem with the sounds that are mimicked on there at the end of the day are not the same as what you will actually hear, in real life. When you compare, for example, fireworks, there's a lot deeper sounds that come in comparison to whatever you hear on the TV. And then when you add in things like thunderstorms, there's drop in pressure and there's the smell of the rain. There's all this stuff that changes. So those are just little things that you can work on for the sounds, getting them comfortable around things like that.
Desensitizing.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes. Another thing I find is the most important, that kind of ties in with fireworks, but it's also just loud sounds in general. So with what Wyatt was saying earlier, you need to find a room where your dog can go and just be separate for a little bit. I think that's one of the most important things to do when you have dogs in your home and you're going to have more than 3 people that's gathering for the holidays.
I even want that room for me.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, sometimes I'm just going to,
5 minutes.
You want to go in and just have peace and quiet for 5 minutes. But no, really, that's to me is the most important for a dog, is to have that sort of separate area so they can decompress. Because the reality of it is, going back to those signs, even if you're the best dog owner who can read all the signs, at the end of the day, your dog will still need that separate time apart. And sometimes they just need to be able to turn it all off. So this is where, for me, I'm a huge advocate of crates and crate training, putting your dog away in a crate where it's literally just small little den-like area and they can truly just kind of recoup with everything. But if you don't have that, or you're against crates, or you just know your dog is not crate trained, then I would just have them in a separate room, put their bed in there, put their water in there, and just kind of have them relax in that area for a little bit. Another one I think that is very important is specifically kids screaming. I find that a lot of animals cats, dogs, whatever, they find that very, very alarming, which is normal. A lot of kids, when they scream so high pitch that it even hurts, our ears.
And the dog thinks something's wrong. There's danger.
Yeah, absolutely. So there can be a lot of confusion for the dog. They hear it and they're like, what is that? Are you screaming because you're dying? Are you screaming because you're trying to be excited? The dog can't read that. And so naturally they get super stressed about it, which adds to all of that just confusion with the overall vibe of what's going on during the holidays.
Especially if you don't have young children in your home.
Yes.
Because nobody in your house runs around screaming.
Right.
So it's like, what
Maybe I do. I don't know.
That's why you'll see
They're just
dogs.
not used to that.
You'll see the kids playing with the fireworks, freaking out, and the dog will run up and grab the firework.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
like a mild form of, I'm going to take away the scare there. I watched George do it.
George does it,
Right.
yeah.
He'll go right at that firework. Like, oh, God.
But yeah, so the kids screaming, I think putting the fireworks and the kids screaming and just sounds and things like that, those are the two main ones that I would want people to specifically pay attention to and figure out how to deal with it. The last one in general, which is going to tie in with just us as a whole as a training company, is you got to train your expectations for your dog. So if you're going to wait until the day of, when everybody comes in, to suddenly start working on obedient commands, things that you want your dog to be able to do, you're really just being unfair to your dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Completely.
Like, this just not reasonable. Your dog is not going to understand why you're getting upset, because more than likely that's what's going to
You got to
happen.
practice the behavior you want your dog
Yes,
to have.
absolutely. And so everything that has to do with the holidays, you gotta work on that, weeks in advance. I mean, in general, what happens in the holidays is a lifestyle that you want your dog to have in general. So you wouldn't just wait, until Thanksgiving Day
Until you need it.
to do something.
Just start
Exactly.
working on it.
It's just
That's like all the football
recalls.
games you're going to watch on Thursday. on
Exactly.
Thanksgiving. All those teams know how to play football, but they've been practicing for the game.
Do they
So
all
you,
know?
well, it depends on which college you follow. But you want to do that. You want to practice what you want your dog to be able to do.
Yeah.
College, the pro football does the same.
Mhm.
They all practice.
Exactly.
But I would think if you have a dog, like Lincoln's a good example of, he is probably always going to have issues with fireworks.
He's got to be medicated.
No matter how much training you do,
Yeah.
that dog is just not gonna like
Yeah.
it. Or maybe your dog got traumatized, or
That's
something
Lincoln.
happened.
That's Lincoln.
Well, it could have been legitimately abused.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Rescue or something. You might not know their history.
Yeah.
But I would say medication
Works.
works to an
Yes.
extent.
It helps.
And if that is just not going to happen, because I know Laura and Charles, you guys lived on a street that it was insane for
Yes.
like 2 weeks, 4th of July.
Yes.
It was just terrible
Texas is crazy.
when it comes to fireworks.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if you know you live on that street, again, boarding is also an option.
That
for
is
Yeah,
true.
if
Yeah.
it's going to last several days, you're better off to board your dog away from it if
Yeah.
it really is just causing them to have almost heart palpitations to where you think your dog's going to have
Yeah.
a heart
Or
explosion.
run off.
Or run
Like
off.
Abby White's
'Cause a lot of
dog.
dogs run off.
We didn't know this. She ran off for 2 days when we lived in Florida because of the fireworks. Because we were not
Because
home.
we didn't know.
And we
that
didn't
she
know,
was
and yeah.
terrified of fireworks. And
Yeah.
said, wow, didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That was a long time.
But what's nice about Carrollton is it's illegal to have fireworks here.
Most cities.
The inside
Get
cities
out-
are, yeah.
Get out in the county. Those are things you're going to want to pay attention
Yeah.
to. And you're probably going to talk about prescriptions or anything like that.
Yeah.
I had medication on here. I think medications are pretty good for dogs. The main issue that I have with it is that a lot of times people give too much.
Yes.
Like they,
Oh.
even if, like for example, I have a little Morkie who is terrified of storms and loud sounds. So we give him trazodone,
Yeah.
but the vet gave us and told us to give him a whole pill.
Holy cow.
And so
he's
when
a
we
real
gave
deer.
him a whole pill, like he literally was walking around like a zombie and just
Right,
looked
right.
like he had no idea where he was or what he was doing. So we made the choice to cut it in half
Yeah.
and
Right.
give him half a pill, and he does just fine on that.
Mm.
But a lot of times I think that's confusing for owners. They want to go with whatever the vets
Yeah.
say. They're
Right.
going, they
You
know
still
what they're
wanna monitor
doing.
your dog and
Right.
say, hey, is this
Right. So on one hand, I'm pro medication, especially if it's so bad, like of a behavioral problem that you can't fix it through training, then sure. On the other hand, I do see the negative side of it that some dogs, you can tell that they're still very much freaking out inside.
Yes.
They're
Yeah.
just like, it's all like cooped in, but they
Yeah.
can't display it because
Right,
they're
'cause they're
medicated so
drugged,
heavily.
But they're still
Yes.
freaking out.
Yes.
They're just calm about it.
So it's
But-
like,
but
are you
can
really
still help.
helping?
But-
You know?
Most dogs, it's like humans. When you get medication for anxiety, you should be going to a therapist. It should be a
Oh,
means
yeah.
to it. Like
Yeah.
most dogs, it is fixable through training. The drugs just help you get there.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if I'd say fixable, and this is a whole nother subject,
Yes.
but it's mitigate.
That's what
It
I mean.
helps
It's
mitigate
like
the
saying,
issue.
minimize.
Yeah.
Your therapist
Yeah.
going to cure you of depression. No, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
But
Right.
it's livable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can help them navigate the
Right.
world with
Yeah.
That
suffering
fear.
and anxiety.
Yeah.
Because, like everyone just mentioned, Lincoln, our Malinois, he's petrified of
Fireworks.
But that's because our house burned down and he was in it. And for about 30 minutes until the fire department pulled him out of the window, we weren't home. He's hearing all the
Fire
fire
attack.
alarms going
Yeah,
off
in the
and
house, and
sirens
the cops
and
coming.
So
Yeah.
for the rest of his life, he's not going to do well with sounds. So
Yeah.
we definitely give him trazodone for holidays and help him calm down.
Yeah,
and then he
he's pretty
sleeps
bad.
in the bed with us.
Oh, Abby's the
Yeah.
same way.
Yeah.
If the fire detector ever goes off, Abby
Yes.
is shaking.
Yeah.
All
she
three
was
of our
in the house
dogs.
too.
Yeah, Abby was,
Yeah.
and then Georgie. Thundervest. What do you think about Thundervest?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really used them that much on neither my personal or my training dogs.
We haven't.
So I don't
Yeah,
know.
neither, so
but
I don't know.
I
I've used
mean,
one on Abby for the fire detector thing.
Mm.
Right.
do you feel like
Because
it makes a difference?
I think it did. I also know, again, it's also addictive. If you have a real stressed out anxiety dog in general, you don't want to be wearing a thunder vest its whole life.
24/7.
Right.
Yeah.
Same thing with medication. It should be a means to an end. I mean, Abby, we've almost got her over the fire detector. She doesn't like
I mean, the
it,
concept behind it is what? That the pressure
compression
makes it
makes
feel
it-
Yeah.
better.
Like they're being coddled, I guess.
Like a
Okay.
weighted blanket for
yeah,
humans.
like a weighted blanket.
Just,
effect.
it's just-
I mean, Abby literally crawls into my lap when she wants
Yeah.
me to hold her.
Yeah.
I feel like
See what
maybe
you can
for
do.
small dogs it would be really
Yeah.
good. But I don't
Yeah.
know if how well it would be for
I'm open
like
to
an
try it.
100-pound dog.
I would say, try something with your dog,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what doesn't work for every dog may work for your
That's
Right.
true.
dog.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
true.
the spray they put on plants to get your dog not to eat it. Clearly, that works with some dog. I've never seen a dog that works, but there
There are some
big
dogs.
companies
that
selling. They sell spray that goes on plants so your dogs don't eat your
oh,
plant.
your
Oh.
furniture.
Or your
Yeah,
furniture.
But
so
anything
they
with dogs,
market.
Yeah.
they're all so different.
It's
and
like
the
bitter
Thundervest
apple.
might work
Yeah.
with this dog, but not the other one.
Well, hopefully those topics that we outlined will help you guys navigate the holidays coming up with a happy and healthy pup. Stress on the happy and stress on the healthy. Remember what's healthy for your dog to eat and what's not. Don't get your dog a bellyache or get them in trouble because you're feeding them stuff off the table that they should not be eating. And remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And if something that we talked about today is an area that you need help with your pup, we'd love to help you and your dog be a joy to live with. Give us a call or visit our website, k-9culture.com, and we can chat about what your issues you're having and what your goals are and see about how we could be part of your dog's training journey. Next week, we'll be visiting the subject of each of our favorite dogs. We'll probably talk about 2 or 3 each, why they were some of our favorite dogs to train, what made that unique, and why we still remember them to this day. And until then, go have
Have
fun with your dog. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.